All right, guys, welcome to. I don't think I'm supposed to look at that. I think I'm supposed to look at you.
Hey, Summer, welcome to the Inquiry Club.
Hey, guys, welcome to the Inquiry Club, a psychology podcast that makes research and clinical insights fun, relatable, and relevant. And today we're diving into what we're looking at in calling like the working hard for things that fade away, the psychology behind a dinner that's eaten, a card that you never read again but work really hard for, a presentation for work that's irrelevant in the second quarter, or a hairstyle for one night, or a dinner party that is gone by the end of the night. So today we want to kind of look at whether that's almost like irrationally chasing validation or kind of impermanent acts, putting effort into like signaling things or perfectionism versus are we actually looking at, does that say something psychologically about ourselves that is deeply meaningful or a depiction of the human mind?
Well, it's like most people have like really long-term projects that they're constantly working on. So to intentionally turn your like attention away from that and focus on these like smaller projects that like truly are insignificant within 24 to 48 hours, like why do we care so much about these like insignificant or like fleeting moments?
Yes. Yeah. And I feel like this came from just the idea that we're dinner party girlies.
To our core.
And Bella and I threw a little dinner party, and I remember us having so much fun like throwing the dinner party, and it was polka dot themed, it was really girly, and I don't know, it was really fun just to throw the party. And later it took so long to clean up, and then it was kind of just it's like after the aftermath not as fun, but
like at all.
It was helpful to almost just be thinking about like why do that feels contradictory to like evolution, to why
optimizing and efficiency. And like I feel like we're also, as much as we're dinner party girls, like very like productivity oriented girls. It's like constantly trying to like optimize time. And then it's like we always invest this much, you know, like time, money, effort, energy to this thing, and then you have to clean it up, and it's honestly like someone else could look at it, or even like me on certain days look at it as like wasteful.
Yes, totally. And it feels very pervasive through culture right now. So, and really quick before, we just want to give a shout out because our friend Heidi is here. Woo! And we're also in person.
We're also in person. Yeah, we just like don't acknowledge that at all. Hey guys, this is looking a little different.
The fact that Summer's in New York.
I'm in New York.
Heidi's in New York.
Heidi's
and
in
we
New York.
are doing the thing on the Upper West Side.
On the Upper West Side, we have a recording light over there. And it's like
more official
really
than
cool.
it's ever been. We are used to being in random.
We're used to things being crazy.
It took us a while to figure this out. Also, we just want to acknowledge that right now.
We got like, you know, maybe a little bit there, and then it was like we should ask for help. And then as the guy's doing everything, it's like, oh wow. There was a lot that we would not have been able to figure out. He literally turned on these lights, and he was like, oh, this will help with like the under eye bags. And I was like, I don't know how to tell you that I've been recording with one single yellow lamp at 5 a.m. and I've been putting that on the internet. Like I have been adding that to my digital footprint.
And Heidi, do you want to just get in the frame? Yes. We all went to high school together and ran. Heidi's a part of the cross country lore, because I feel like we talked about cross country.
We literally talked about us meeting through high school cross country. The 3 of us were besties.
Yeah. So we're kind of just like the adult version of that.
Yeah.
But picture us sitting at, and I guess we can get to this later.
Yeah, well,
us sitting in like a little castle talking for hours.
Hesitation before castle. What's that word?
Castle.
Yeah. And there was a castle. There was a bee. There wasn't enough leg room. But,
and
it was awesome.
We'll get into it later.
Yeah, we'll chat more on that later. Okay, so Christina, do you want to kick us off kind of a little bit with like your initial thoughts towards investing in things that are fleeting?
Yes. So I don't know. Whenever I was thinking about this, one of the main perspectives that I thought about was the meaning of being in the doing. There's a Japanese concept called mono, not aware, and it's the awareness of beauty in permanence, and it suggests that like the fleeting effect really enhances the value.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so something like a cherry blossom that's going to only blossom for a few weeks makes it all the more beautiful.
Okay.
And I feel like that's kind of at the core of what one of the first perspectives that I was thinking about is.
Yeah.
That why we like to work so hard for things that fade away is because there's this thing called like the dermatology. Self-determination theory. And it suggests that people really derive intrinsic satisfaction from mastery or autonomy or purpose.
Okay.
And a lot of times that comes from like the effort we put in. So like we, by putting in a lot of effort, essentially like create that value.
Yeah. Like create a significance by a perceived effort.
Yes. Okay. And so like preparing a beautiful card makes it all the more meaningful to someone because you see the perceived effort of it. Or a hairstyle that's really impressive, or like a girl looking really cute for like with her makeup.
Interesting.
Is an expression of agency or skill. Yeah. And the outcome really is more secondary, but it's really the experience of the effort put in that people are like wowed by.
Yeah.
I guess.
That's like the effort is the thing itself that makes it significant.
Yes.
Even though like you're kind of indexing on an opportunity to like not show off, but like maybe like step out of like stating that you care about something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a expression of identity in some ways. And there's this woman named Hannah Arendt, and she kind of coined almost these ideas in terms of how we view work. So there's labor and that's survival work. So that could be, like your job, like if you don't love your job, but you do it to pay the bills, provide for your family. But then there's actual work, and that's creating what she categorizes as creating lasting objects. And so she notes that it's not necessarily like the product, but more the action or interacting with others that is the most meaningful, even though it's
interesting.
And so a lot of times when we're doing work that feeds what we consider for a lasting objects, really like the action of it itself is the most meaningful part.
Is the most meaningful. Like the fact that you care that much.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting because I feel like we've talked a little bit about like hustle culture before, but I feel like everyone can go so tunnel vision in their 20s to like, productivity, optimizing on efficiency and all these things that like those are the things that honestly like fall off the to-do list first for me. Yeah. But they are the things that are like the most meaningful of like the little conversations, the, slowing down in those moments or like spending extra time doing something. Is kind of like almost so counterintuitive because those are the things that you like want to prioritize the least when you're stressed, and those are the things that like inherently provide the most value to your life.
Yeah, I think about remote work, and I was even just talking about this with one of our friends that they have a really intensive consulting job, and my job was intense, but not in a way that nowhere close. In terms of like the intense effort that I had to put in for like the past 3 years. And for them, like they have a lot of opportunity now, and I was even weighing the cost in my own head of whether that would have been worth it to not sacrifice any time, but because there was value gained, it was just a different kind of valuation than maybe more the whimsical experiences or like freedom I got to have in staying in a place and like being able to travel but having more of a home base and
being extremely present where you're at.
And I even think of like remote work, that being one of the hardest parts about working remotely, that for I feel like a lot of people in their 20s and 30s, you're more of like an object of efficiency, like you are the person
1000%
carrying out all like all the tasks to be done.
And it takes like a lot of the whimsy out of it, not to like use whimsy in like a psychoanalytical setting, but but like truly it's like there's no like grabbing a coffee on the way to work, there's no like casual interaction with a coworker, there's no like there's nothing
how was your weekend and actually like sharing about the weekend.
Like you have to so intentionally seek that out and almost manufacture it with like coffee shop settings, and even that, like I know for even myself it kind of feels like, wait, why am I doing this? Like I'm inventing this narrative and like, like it's pointless. What's the point? Just like that whole thing. It takes away so much because you are a product of efficiency. Not to be like you're part of the machine, but it's like you just go so hard for just being productive.
And then ultimately like years go by and you can, and I mean, I think that's the classic like work trope of like years went by and
whatever,
someone like wasn't present for their family or something like that.
You guys know how it goes.
But
yeah, that is a classic story of like realizing how much life you've lost after years of like just focusing on productivity instead of,
like whether, and I guess it's like the trade-off of like whether you thought that was a valuable enough like shaping or experience that creates like a sense of meaning in your life, and what you worked for, maybe it faded away, but your eternal like lasting object was like your work ethic and like what you provided for your family or
like what your autobiographical processing of that was, like what story you told yourself about what you learned from that experience. And for some people, like they tell themselves that was pointless, and then like that's a challenge to find something within that, but it is like a truly self-valuation of like what that time meant to them.
Totally. And I think another one, like another perspective that I wrote down and was thinking about was, it's called costly signaling theory, and it kind of goes back to what I was saying, that we invest in things that fade because the effort itself signals commitment, skill, or desirability. And so if a guy's taking a girl out on a date and they don't like plan thoughtfully, or they're a little bit more like loosey-goosey with it, it's not as attractive. And I totally, like you just see it like throughout culture, like putting in an effort for a dinner party means so much to people because the commitment and the skill, or going back to the card thing of like, the guy bought you a card, it's not gonna,
doesn't mean as much
as if you like wrote a handwritten card.
I've actually been thinking about this a lot recently, and I haven't thought about like the psychology of fleeting things from the perspective of other people perceiving you. Like I've only really thought about it from like a self-identity perspective, but thinking about it from like the opposite perspective, and specifically even like within dating, this has been like such a like debate between my friend group, but like the coffee walk versus the like planned dinner situation. And it's like, I literally think like I don't know, it was like I had an opinion that I didn't expect to have, because I'm like, I want to be chill girl, it's like, oh my gosh, like coffee walk is like so casual, so fun, like so easy, like you want that to be like what you want. But I realized like, oh, I think that I'm so much more in the headspace of like having fun when there's been like a perceived effort towards something, which like automatically inherently comes from like a more set up situation, like
like more intentional, like it could come across more formulaic, or like it needs to go a certain way if something's more thought out.
If something's a little bit more thought out. I remember specifically like one first date that I went on that like I wasn't that into it, and then he was like, we're gonna go here and we're gonna get a pitcher of sangria, and then we're gonna try all these different little tapa things, and I had the best time of my life, because I was like, oh shit,
their excitement like translated.
It translated, and it like pulled me into the moment so much more, and that's like such a fond memory of mine, because I was like pulled into that excitement, pulled into that like consideration, and like a million amazing coffee walk dates and all that stuff, and like so fun, so great. That's like great time for fellowship and community, but I think that the structure of it lends less towards like a shared like excitement together.
I get that. I feel like it reminds me of, we were just talking about this the other day, when you dress nicer, or at least for me, when I dress nicer, sometimes I feel more formal, and then it creates like this sense that I am much more aware of how I'm coming across,
so much more aware of how you're being perceived, because you've thought about it, and so
I've thought about it.
So you're almost more tapped into like what other people would think about it, because it's something that you've considered. That's so true.
Versus like, I feel like if I go to like a party or like an event, I like to dress it down a little bit more, because then I notice my
self less.
I notice myself less. I feel more just like,
because you have like more of a casual
aware of others. Okay,
interesting.
And then my demeanor is more like relaxed.
That's
and I doubt anyone else could tell.
But
honestly, I always just feel more like aware of others versus self-conscious. Not even self-conscious in like a I don't know. It's probably like more like an egotistical way, which sucks. Dang it.
Shoot.
And I think this all goes back to like, no one's an island kind of idea.
Okay. Where are you
that
going
I feel
with
like we're less autonomous than we think. Like, even if
that's so true. Okay, yes, we were literally talking about that this morning, Heidi and I at the coffee shop.
Like, dang it! No, we can't act like Heidi's not there.
Heidi's right here, and we were just talking about this, but like talking about like
silence said this is wrong.
Get Heidi a microphone 2025.
Next time we're doing this, we're getting Heidi a microphone.
Yeah, we're not leaving here without Heidi on the mic. But literally, we were talking about like life being a team sport and like noticing others and like almost being a person who notices others invites them into your life and like you know, obviously with boundaries and whatnot and like yada yada yada. Like I'm saying, like, you know, don't, like that doesn't mean like they're in your life and intimate.
Your life immediately brings up boundaries. What the? With you. I
feel like for me that's a pipeline of like caring too much about what other people think about me. So I'm like, what in setting like reasonable boundaries?
And like,
who can tell I'm working on boundaries?
A respectful, like, super relaxed way that's not obsessed.
Everybody don't be a freak. Anyways, wow, I was like, where the heck was I going?
Me and Summer, we like met we met a new friend.
We met new friends. We overnighted a friend group to New
Summer's
York.
best friend.
Yeah.
And we kept emphasizing that we were trying to be like really chill and but we had so much fun all together that we ended up like literally hyping them up for like 10 minutes.
It is like we've talked about this before. That's like we're people who will leave a hang and then immediately have to like
send a message.
So much
fun.
Yeah, and then later it's like, could have been cool, and instead we were affirming.
No, I can't lean cool. I
can't. No. So we were like trying to be actually so natural about it, and then we both ended up sending affirming messages, and it's like. Okay.
And I had just communicated that the thing I've learned about myself is that I'm a slow burn.
Yeah.
I like to perceive people over time.
Yeah, you're like, I'm not someone who gets
then I'm like, I love y'all.
I love you guys. You're all invited to my funeral.
We all debrief. Me and Sarah debriefed that. I was like, we're making no sense. We're adding up to be like a person that makes zero sense.
We promise we're self-aware, like somewhere in there. But I think where I was going with that originally was like the fact that like life is such a team sport, and actually this is a great time to bring in like what I was talking about, like Erikson's research of like the stages almost of self-actualization. And like for every like, you know, like stage of life and like developmental period, there's like a goal of what you're like actually like subconsciously trying to accomplish. And for I think it's 18 to 20, it is intimacy versus isolation. And that's like genuinely the thing that defines like the period of your 20s. And so it like makes a ton of sense that this would be like the season of life that we're all starting to consider other people way more than ever before, you know. And it's like,
and I feel like in two ways, considering people, we want to bring people closer, or I feel like I see a lot more influencers online that it's all about their own rhythm, their own journey, and essentially like what it looks like to relate to others is having how you more like boundaries.
Boundaries. They're better at boundaries than I ever could be.
Just more. They're more about the boundaries, and it's more about that. It's more of a self-focused versus intimacy. Kind of.
Yeah, maybe going down the path towards isolation. Yeah. And that's like their season. It's what they're figuring out. You know, like they're choosing that. But it makes a ton of sense, like why they're aware of it in either bucket that you're falling into, like the intimacy versus isolation. But it's one of those things that I've literally been thinking about it recently, that I'm like, I wasn't aware of dinner parties at all growing up. Like I didn't really think that was ever going to be something that like meant a lot to me. And then now I'm 24 and it means a lot to me. You know, like
totally
cards, dinner parties, putting together an outfit to go to something that someone's planned. Like it feels so out of character for me to like suddenly care about this all at once. And so I've been thinking almost like, why do I care about this? And I do think that it's falling into the realm of like this identity concept towards intimacy versus isolation, and like seeking out, you know, like intimate relationships, like with friendships, personal relationships, like even fostering community within workplaces.
Your communication style.
Even your communication style.
In terms of, that's crazy phrase, but just more in terms of messaging or being more affirming, leaning in versus essentially leaning out.
Leaning in or like
or seeming kind of
parallel.
Like super okay on your own and and I had fun but I don't need to tell you.
I had fun but I would rather maintain face.
And kind of be a cool person you can't read, you know.
Like finding a lot of value in opening up and like doing your very best, bring people in, and also trying to find friends who also value the same things that you do. Like leaning away towards the like doing things together friends and indexing on like close personal relationships that you're like finding commonalities in.
Which I think could be the counter argument for, or I don't even know if the counter argument could be a point in terms of why we work so hard for things that fade away, whether it's actually something it could be something more frivolous. You know, I think we're leaning into things that are more meaningful, but I feel like if people were honest, I'm just thinking about girls going out or something, for example, you could spend a lot of time worrying about how your hair looks and your makeup looks, or for a wedding, what you're dressing like, and that's not necessarily good or bad, but it's not necessary in terms of like your greater value.
It is like a neutral experience. I was kind of thinking that when you were talking about like how you're presenting in social settings, of like you're trying to pay attention to what you're wearing less, so that you're less like conscious of yourself in the setting. That's kind of the kind of argument to spending time investing on fleeting things. And I think about like I threw like a little party at the beginning of the summer, and I like kind of was very strategic about how much I thought about it. Like about, like I didn't want to think about it too much and freak myself out and like put too much weight on it. And so I like, not like bare minimum, but just above bare minimum to be like, I care about this and I want this to go well.
The logistics are planned out.
Logistics are planned out. I have a couple snacks. I have a vague idea. I got like the Joyride like sour candy.
Oh yeah, I literally they're so good.
They're so good, and it was the first time.
Heidi snapped.
Yeah, Heidi loves. But I literally kept telling people that I felt like I was a dog that was about to get put down because I was in Target just buying all of my favorite snacks.
I've done that before. That is honestly my prerequisite. Actually, I only bring things I personally
want. I know. I'm like, I'm spending money on this.
No, truly.
But even then, it was like I was kind of really strategically being like, okay, I want people to see that I put in effort enough to like clock into the environment and be like, Summer cares about this, but also like Summer's not gonna die if not caring too much. Almost like almost regulating my perceived effort to try to set myself up for success and everyone in the environment as well.
And I think it puts people more at ease.
I think so too. And like
hosting.
Like almost having
being like a relaxed host. It's a lot of forethought and then being a relaxed host in the moment.
I do completely agree with that.
And I think that goes for anything, whether that's working super hard on a work project and then kind of letting it go, or working super hard for a project or studying for a test that maybe isn't relevant to what you want to do long term. But
which I do think like ties into the identity and expression aspect of it, because this is another thing that falls into the category of things that I didn't expect myself to care about in my 20s. So that's a series. But I feel like we've been talking about this. I was talking about this with my sister last week, but like I'm not an accessory girl. And I want to be an accessory girl. I want to look in the mirror and add 2 more things because I want to care that much. But I feel like I spend so much of my life like trying not to care that I feel like I have imposter syndrome towards accessories. But it's like I want my perceived effort to be like a little bit higher in those realms. Because those truly are like identity and self-expression. But I can't like unattach it from like a feeling of vanity.
Interesting.
Because I want it to come from like a true self-expression, not like an I want to appear a certain way type of situation. But like thinking about it in terms of like spending so much for fleeting things, doing your hair just to go to a coffee shop and work for a little bit, or just to meet up with friends, or just to do X, Y, and Z. Like it's a hard, honestly, like line for me to understand like what my relationship with it is. Because I want to get better at like expressing myself and like dressing how I truly feel, but
totally.
Also like the self-regulation of like not caring about it too much, and like letting it become any kind of like overwhelming priority.
This isn't to do with dress, but this is a moment I actually feel like is a perfect contradiction of even our subtle personalities that I noticed last night when we were offered an Uber ride home.
Summer
responded totally fine. We can just walk, which was a few blocks, and we totally could have. I immediately received it. And I kind of looked at Summer and then looked at the people offering and said, absolutely.
We're going to.
I would love to. And like, received. Yeah.
And then I was like, good idea.
Yeah. But I remember thinking, oh, like, that Summer's like chillness, like, doesn't want to be an imposition.
Yeah.
And you honestly don't really care. But
literally,
it was such a contrast of.
It is such a contrast.
Of just a subtle moment. I remember thinking, I was like, why would we walk? You offered an Uber ride.
Having a stop. Yeah. And then even like getting back to Christina's
And then I
place.
immediately told my address. I was like, my address is.
I was like still talking about like why we shouldn't when Tina's halfway through her address. Like, and it was from Meg J's The Defining Decade. Oh, yeah. And we'll have to fact check that later because I'm like 90% sure. But it's from The Defining Decade that's honestly like inviting yourself to be a burden in other people's lives because people like people who rely on them.
Context. Yeah, I dare you.
Context. So I'm gonna quote that. But like when someone, like if we weren't really close friends and I asked you to give me a ride to the airport, yep. And like I feel like such a burden and horrible and like terrible about all this, but like you're perceiving me as someone who trusts you enough or like relies on you enough, and like you're a big enough part of my life for me to consider you to take me to the airport. That's like actually like a really relationally strengthening like bonding experience for both of us. And now that I'm saying that, that's like literally what happened with our friendip when we were 15 and 16.
That's so
is
true.
Like you giving me rides home, and so it's like I'm. Like it's by inviting you to
a ride home.
By like asking you to give me a ride home, I'm saying like I feel close enough with you to burden you with something, and then for you to receive it, it like automatically creates an intimacy.
There's the alternate psychological concept that when people give help to others, you end up liking the person more because you see yourself as only giving help to people that are worthy of it, essentially. And so it ends up
it's kind of like
an inverse feedback loop, where me helping you indicates that you must be someone worthy
that you care enough about. Even if you're like it doesn't fit your schedule or like you're like a tiny bit resentful towards it, it's like, well, I obviously like her enough to give her a ride home, so like fine, and then it's like over time that just strengthens a relationship. And thinking about that tying into like fleeting moments and dinner parties and all those things is like, so you invite someone to a dinner party, maybe you guys aren't that close, but you show up to the dinner party and they've, there's bows on the candles, there's taper candles, like someone made food, like you're suddenly like, you feel almost inner circle to that person, like someone asks you an opinion on their hairstyle.
You're touched by the effort put in.
It's again back to the perceived effort of like life is a team sport, and like by you caring more, yes, it's identity, yes, it's self-expression, but it's also like inviting people to do like that element of life with you, and they see that you care about them in like a niche way that honestly doesn't like set you up for rejection.
There's a few, I feel like it could be interesting to go through some of the different examples. I feel like we touched on a few, planning a dinner party or whatever, but I feel like there's a lot more examples that we could provide of what are things that people work hard for that fade away, and almost the psychological concepts behind them. So I'm going to name a few. So we talked about planning a dinner party, but also just, I always found it interesting when people cook so much for themselves.
Oh, yeah.
And spend a lot of time, do like the wine, do like a whole prepped meal. And there's this concept called anticipatory savoring. So research shows that we get as much or more happiness from anticipating an event than the event itself. And so it's more fun to almost get to the process of cooking and knowing you're going to savor this meal. And it like creates it to be more exciting. I thought about holiday hosting and decorating as well. Like creating an aesthetic, themed environment, even it's fall pumpkin spice vibes, or like the little pumpkins you buy, like all those things literally go bad in essentially a month. And
if not sooner.
You put them out. It's a lot of effort. I feel like people do a lot of effort to make their home look so beautiful and so seasonal. And there's this thing called collective effervescence. That's a hard word for me to say. But kind of the idea that shared rituals bond us and transcend our individual selves. So even though the decorations are temporary, the memories and the collective feeling it creates extends beyond.
Yeah.
For work and career, I wrote down overachieving on a temporary project, so it could be obsolete in the next quarter, but you have to do this huge presentation for leadership for something they might or might not execute or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's this I think we touched on this. It's called effort justification. That if we've worked hard, we see the outcome as more meaningful, and this makes the fleeting moment feel worth it in the end.
Yeah.
And I think that goes back to marathon running or all those things. The effort makes it feel meaningful.
Yeah, some kind of deeper attachment.
Yeah. This is a fun one. This is more in regards to personal life or like in the home, but cleaning before guests arrive.
Oh yeah.
And you like do a full apartment deep clean before someone comes, and you know it's gonna get messed up, or if someone's staying in the house, like it's gonna end up in a mess. And this is more tying back to social signaling and impression management ultimately, because we want others to see us as competent, organized, or welcoming. And yes, it looks good to them and makes them feel like it's a clean space for them, but ultimately it's sometimes a reflection on who we are.
Ultimately it's a reflection of yourself, and again with the perceived effort of like caring enough about someone being in your space to present well.
The obsessive organizing, or when people get really intense about like a bookshelf or the fridge, where I feel like every mom or someone gets, if you go into your closet for a second and you're just like in there doing the most, even though it'll probably shift in a few weeks or within the week, I feel like I spend hours cleaning my room or apartment, and I realize when I get ready, I'm a messy get ready girl.
Oh yeah.
Where I kind of throw a lot of outfits
Everything
out.
changes in a weekend.
And then
I literally clean on Fridays. I normally do something Friday nights. Disaster by mid-Saturday.
Such a sad.
And then I have to live in that all week, and then on like those beautiful 3 hours on Friday, the sun is shining through my window and everything's perfectly clean.
Yes. And I even like to set out outfits, and I realize I don't stick, which I did it this week. I told someone I was wearing this outfit. I set it out.
I arrive in New York. I don't even remember what we did the first night. She pulls a green dress. Well, we discussed that Christina's only getting 2 hours of sleep per night, which I'm worried about her body recovery, because that's like genuinely
don't worry about it.
So unsafe.
It's unsafe.
It's unsafe. But she pulls out this adorable green dress, and she's like, I'm wearing that just so you know. And I was like, this is tragic. I didn't pack a green dress, so I'm gonna go ahead and be on a completely different wavelength than you. I'll be in my jeans and a t-shirt. And then we show up at prayer room the next morning. Different dress.
Different dress.
Completely different dress.
Someone shouted it out that I'm talking to someone. She's like, "That's not the dress you said you were gonna wear."
We're like in a group of
crazy.
People. Trying to hold her accountable.
But anyways, all I'll say is that makes me a messy person, because I in the moment feel like that's not what I want to wear, and then
honestly,
end up
that like
it
kind
out.
of helps the decision making, is like to have a vision and to so clearly not feel strongly.
But with that, there's this psychological lens that is called the self-concept clarity. So our environment becomes an expression of our identity. And even if it won't stay perfectly organized for long, I feel like it's the classic, you can tell how my life's going by how my room looks or something like that, or just
classic. Type A versus type B, however it goes.
It's put together in my room and how are put together versus whatever.
I feel like I've seen that so much, like in the past few years, of like friends getting apartments or like moving, and you know, like it evolves with the next apartment and all these things. And I think you so clearly like know your friends that care, and then you have a couple friends that don't care. And it's interesting, like even looking at the difference between those personality types of like what's the difference, and like I feel like I try to extrapolate it to be like what's
different
objectively like more like friends who it's like every single aspect of their apartment is cohesive and meticulously crafted. They're like cultivating an environment. I know you'll get there. The gingham, the tweed.
I'm on my way.
We're on our way. But it's like so like it's an environment that's like meticulously cultivated, like specifically for you know like the vibes, and like the friends I'm thinking of like aren't even really big coasters. Like it's for them. You know, like it's truly just like a self-expression
like a
for them.
Peaceful place.
Yes. And then I think like
are peaceful,
my roommate truly like doesn't care at all. you know, and like like we've lived in our apartment for so long. After 3 months living in it, she was like, I should hang up these posters, but I don't even think it's worth it at this point. It's like we had 9 months left of our lease at that point, and then we renewed.
But I actually get that, yeah.
Yeah, like
sometimes
I
lean towards that when it comes to home stuff specifically. I don't know why.
Yeah, which is interesting because it's like you are good at like accessorizing or like caring about other things.
Let me take you out of that.
Yeah, I'm amazing at accessorizing. No, that's self-awareness. Because I like care about spaces a lot. You know, it's like I'm that flip side, but I can't get myself to care. Like I cannot get myself to wear a scarf, even though scarves are like in or whatever. And I see everyone wearing scarves, I'm like, they look
Summer brings back like the initial, like, what kind of scarf are you talking about?
People are like tying them around their waist.
Oh yeah.
They look so cute.
I thought you were literally imagining like the classic scarf emoji. Summer, that's not a thing right now.
It's like
don't wear that.
September. It's 100 degrees in both the places we live.
I'm sweating right now.
I'm sweating. But even just thinking about like the differences in those friends' personalities and like what they care about and like, okay, honestly, like the friends that I'm thinking of, like one, I guess they both care about outfits, but like the one who doesn't care about their room cares a lot about outfits.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's almost realizing like where you're indexing on your self-expression.
Yeah. And like that's the other one, getting ready for something.
Yeah.
And I feel like self-concept clarity fits into that really well because that's an expression of I like to dress up no matter what, like if I'm going to something really casual or not. Yeah. And even in college, in our college town, like little people were just wearing oversized t-shirts, but I would be wearing jeans. Yeah. And that wasn't me trying to like stunt on people. No. That was me.
It's coming from an earnest place.
Like, for some reason I like to be wearing a high-waisted pant.
Sorry guys, I'm going to wear a pair of sandals soon.
I liked feeling comfortable in my daily life, I guess.
Yeah. Sorry y'all. Which that even is something that like every 3 months I'm like, and I'm gonna be a jeans girl, like I'm gonna do it, but I lean towards athleisure. And so it's even thinking about like, okay, why am I doing that? What am I getting out of it? Is the perceived effort like net positive, net neutral, net negative for me? You know, it's like, am I more comfortable in environments because I'm thinking about myself less because I put less effort into how I look, or would it just like be a bigger payout to maybe be more present in those environments because I care about it more because I'm like showing up in more effort. You know, it's like I feel like I could be more intentional about thinking about why I'm doing it and what I'm getting out of it instead of just like every 3 months being like, and I want to wear jeans casually.
Let me throw that in there to my own brain.
Literally, I keep doing that. It's like I'm going to wear jeans casually. And then I go to like 4 different things that I wear jeans casually to. And then I fall back into the athleisure trend. And then I have embarrassment. I know.
You find embarrassment.
I find embarrassment. I'm like, why did I wear jeans to that? Because like, everyone probably thinks that's so stupid.
Yeah, that's an interesting paradox. Okay, these are the final 2 that I listed that could be interesting, is crafting a perfect Instagram story or post. Because like editing, caption writing.
Takes so much time.
I feel like, I don't know, at least on my end, I feel like as you get older, you care less about it. But I remember being younger.
Caring a lot.
Yeah. And the timing and like the curation of all the things I'm posting.
So I've had friends like from freshman year of college tell me like, oh, they cared a lot about like the Instagram story that they posted for me because they're like, I wanted us to be
Instagram stories
friends.
are really interesting to me the most because it literally goes away in 24 hours.
And almost no one else cares about it.
And we're in a social media attention-grabbing world.
Yeah.
We'll probably see it for like a second.
1 second.
And so
like it probably won't even register.
That one is impact bias, and we overestimate how big of a splash our effort will make.
Yeah.
And so we work really hard for imagined bigger effects and like perceived bias. And then there's this thing called the ephemeral media psychology, that stories are safe because they also vanish, which paradoxically makes us put more effort into them.
Yeah, like
because
it's a safe space.
We can be more. I feel like I'm more witty on a story than I would be on a post.
Yeah,
because for some reason that
post feels permanent,
safer, which I actually do understand.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's like more casual.
Yeah,
like perceived effort, like you know, witty off the cuff versus like overthinking something.
Yeah,
like it's gonna feel more natural.
Yeah, and then the last one was writing a perfect text or DM, I guess, could possibly be one. I don't even know.
Perhaps sliding in.
Perhaps if you're sliding in.
Perhaps
but I think people
kind
of overthinking tone or timing or emojis or whatever.
Yeah. Well, that's one of those things that, like, I cannot think about it too much, because if I think about it too much, I won't like the outcome no matter what.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, you just have to write it and send it.
Yeah.
Because perhaps the perceived effort, like, controls your emotional regulation.
Yes. And so that is the negativity bias that we focus on avoiding misinterpretation or rejection. So we put hours into something they'll read for 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And we're just more worried about our
perception.
Yeah, or their perception, I guess.
Their perception of us. Yeah. Interesting. Those are all so, I don't know, like, categorically different, but, like, all go into this greater picture of, like, you know, how much you're caring, like, how you're showing up for yourself and your people.
Yeah.
And, like, ultimately, like, all of those are distinguishing factors of, like, I don't want to say the richness of your life, but, like, I almost feel like the texture of your life.
Yeah.
You know, it's like how many different faucets are happening, you know?
Yeah. It's so true. I was telling Summer about this story by J.R.R. Tolkien. Is it R.R. Tolkien?
I think it's J.R.R.
Feels unnatural to say, but J.R.R. Tolkien, and it's called Leaf by Niggle, and kind of honestly, that's what it sounded like. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, just getting some visibility.
Yeah, just call it what it is. That was a bark.
J. Woof Woof Tolkien.
A dog.
He's a dog.
Oh no.
Disheveled.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, he wrote this allegorical story called Leaf by Niggle, and it's essentially a story he wrote for himself when he was trying to, I think, write Lord of the Rings. But it's all about this artist named Niggle, and he's working obsessively on this painting of a giant tree that he has always envisioned, and especially, like, he's working, but for some reason he experiences toil, or like he has this dilemma at hand that he feels torn between finishing his painting and helping his neighbors with daily tasks. So kind of representing, like, our duties and, like, little things that can distract us in life. And eventually Niggle, like, has to go on a journey, which is a metaphor for death, and he leaves his work unfinished, and it really hurts him because all he was able to work on was the little leaf, and no matter how much effort he put in, he never felt even satisfied with the leaf itself.
Oh, interesting.
And anyways, he gets to wherever he goes next, and he finds he's able to let go of perfectionism and, like, this selfishness, and eventually sees, when he gets there, a real version of the tree he always imagined in his head, and it's full and it's whole and it's complete, and it was as if his creative striving had eternal significance. And I think that is maybe a good concluding point, that these, like, momentary acts aren't just about the moment. They're, I think, glimpses of something deeper in our human psyche and makeup that lends towards something more eternal, or a beauty that endures kind of beyond us. Beyond us. And
well, to recognize that the little moments are the big moments, you know. You hope that when you get to the end of your life, you don't remember the 3 huge things that you did, but you remember fondly all of the dinner parties that you like laughed with friends over, and the hairstyles that, like, you cared too much about, but, like, made the night so memorable, you know, and the work projects that you were really proud of because no one asked you to care that hard. You know, it's like those are really, like, the life defining moments that, like, give such a depth and you know, like, make our lives so much more interesting.
I feel like it's probably like a parent raising a kid that they probably can't think of. It's not the kid graduating that's making them feel that they've accomplished something.
It's the swelling
all
of
the
pride.
Little moments that they've had with their kid in private, and the effort that they put in, that is a signifier of the meaning and the love that they have.
That is, like, what actually matters.
That's the whole point for them.
The whole point. Yeah.
And there's this passage in the Bible, and it's in Ecclesiastes, and it says that he made everything appropriate in its time. He also set eternity in their heart, without the possibility that mankind will find out the work which God has done from beginning to end. And whether or not you believe in God or believe in the Bible, I think there's something there about there is some form of our heart that longs for something beyond what we currently work for. And whether that's you working so hard to because you only believe that there's this earth and you want your legacy to exist in this earth. And so you build something of earthly value or
if it's an eternal. Like no matter what you're setting your sights on, like every single human heart yearns for a long significance. You know, and like it's so available through so many different things. You know, for every different individual. But like even thinking towards an eternal perspective of like the moments and the, you know, depth that will outlast you and like last for generations and even on.
Yeah, that's so good. Ended on a senti note.
Senti. That's the like Instagram. Almost forgot that this was the whole point. Yeah. Was like what it was giving to me. So maybe we can put that audio over it.
Yeah, that's so true. All right. Well, that's it for today's episode, and we will see you guys in Fact Check.
Kick us off, Christina referenced a concept described as mono-no-aware. Motoori Norinaga, an 18th century Japanese scholar, described mono-no-aware as the pathos of things, the gentle sadness and the heightened appreciation that comes from recognizing the fleeting nature of beauty, rather than seeing... That's my alarm.
Once again, just to break fourth wall, it's like 7 a.m.
Yeah, it's the perfect time to be on a podcast. I'm going to go ahead and turn it all off.
To publicize our voices onto the internet.
What did you say?
I said to publicize our voices via internet.
Yeah, no. I'm going to go ahead and broadcast this.
Yeah.
Where was I? Rather than seeing impermanence as a loss, Norinaga framed it as what makes life meaningful. Cherry blossoms are moving not despite their short bloom, but because of it. That is incredible. Christina also mentioned the costly signaling theory, which was proposed by Amotz Zahavi in his book The Handicap Principle, the missing piece of Darwin's puzzle, which was foundational text where Zahavi argues that extravagant, hard-to-fake displays like a peacock's tail signal underlying quality precisely because they are costly. Also, in the podcast, Christina referenced that when she wears a more formal outfit, the meaning attached to the attire could prompt her to act in ways that align with the effort and formality that her clothing presents. This aligns with the work of Adam and Galinsky in 2012, where they introduced the concept of enclothed cognition, which suggests... Sorry, what? That was crazy. Wow.
That got you.
That got me. Which suggests that the symbolic meaning of clothing paired with the physical appearance of wearing it can shape psychological processes. In their study, participants who wore a white lab coat associated with attentiveness and precision performed better on attention-related tasks. I have referenced that already from you probably upwards of 7 times.
Oh my God.
I cannot shut up about it because I think it's so right.
It's so true. It is.
It's so true.
Okay, Summer mentioned Erikson's work on the stages of development, specifically highlighting how our 20s are often defined by the conflict of intimacy versus isolation. In this stage, the core question becomes whether we can build deep, committed relationships without losing our sense of self, and the outcome shapes whether we experience closeness, connection, or loneliness and disconnection.
Christina mentioned that the idea of letting someone help you can actually make them more like you. This is known as the Ben Franklin effect.
Like you more.
That like you more. Them more like you. Like you more. This is known as the Ben Franklin effect. The basic idea is that when someone does a favor for another person, their positive feelings towards that person. Their brain unconsciously reasons, I must like this person or I wouldn't have helped them, which strengthens their positive feelings towards that person. Wow. The effect was first documented by Jackler and Landy in 1969, showing that people who performed small favors for others rated those people as more likable than if they hadn't done the favor. It's once again a great example of how small acts of vulnerability or asking for help can actually deepen relationships. That's like also another one of my favorite things ever.
Yeah, me too. That one I think about often.
I think about that often. I think about that often because I can think of so many people in my life that I've done that for and that I also feel like have done that to me.
Me
like,
too.
I'm like, the list is long. But Christina referenced The Leaf by Niggle, written by J.R.R. Tolkien, and claimed that he wrote it for himself. That's largely accurate. Tolkien composed the story in the mid-1940s, during the same period he was working on The Lord of the Rings. Scholars note that the story affects Tolkien's personal concerns and creative struggles at this time, including his sense of morality and the tension between daily obligations and artistic work, and the impermanence of effort.
Yay! We need a shorter fact check.
That's huge. Sometimes when we're reading for like 7 pages, it's like, yeah.
I know.
Like, the authority.
You guys need to learn something.
Yeah.
This was honestly, sometimes when we do that, I'm like, if we hadn't done this, that would have been scary.
It would have been completely inaccurate. Sometimes when I'm like editing and making reels later, it's like, wow, I actually need to watch through the fact check to make sure that I'm pulling a clip that's accurate.
Yeah, exactly.
So don't worry, we're putting in the effort.
Yeah. Previous efforts that we hadn't. Maybe we can tell about the end of our New York excursions.
Oh yeah.
I feel like we didn't even. We went to Dua Lipa.
Yeah, we went to Dua Lipa.
Honestly, she influenced us in a big way.
In a big way.
On a big way.
I don't have any kind of motor skills this morning, but we literally both said that we left the Dua Lipa concert with new 5-year goals.
She is so beautiful. Like genuinely, everyone around us, you could hear the collective like, that girl slays. Dang, yeah. She's like, God,
she's incredible.
She's incredible.
Yeah.
And then I also both bought impulsively the fake soccer jersey, which I did wear this week. And someone asked me what soccer team is up for, and I was like, it's for the Dua Lipa concert. I don't know anything about soccer. I think I lost respect. I think I did lose respect, but
that is hard because it's like Dua Lipa's like, I feel like of all of the merch to have, Dua Lipa's like pretty cool merch to have.
Yeah, hers is cooler.
But if someone expects it to be a real soccer jersey and then they find out it's Dua Lipa merch, that's like a downhill.
Yeah, it was like a downhill. It felt like a downhill moment. But I will say, they did give me credit because they were like, I think it would be worse because everyone's wearing a soccer jersey just for aesthetic reasons, and they definitely don't know anything that's going on with those soccer teams.
Those teams.
So I was like, think about that. Ponder it.
Yeah.
Summer and I did a photo shoot right before it, and we
Christina
literally thought
tweed.
I put her in tweed, and we thought we might had to have. We were running so late that we thought we were gonna show up to Dua Lipa in tweed, which could have been insane. It was like so not the vibe, and it was really hot in there, so it really would have sucked.
Yeah, eating like our chicken sandwich.
Yeah, we ate like the most random stuff. We got this chicken sandwich because both of us were like the most hungry ever, and we borderline almost ran across the street to get a burger, and we would have missed like the whole 15 minutes of the show, but it almost was worth it. But we got this like sloppy Joe, just like so crazy. Yeah. And then immediately it went completely dark in the stadium the moment we stepped in.
I forgot about this.
So the way I ate soggy bread, and I think Summer ate the patty. It's insane.
I think Christina ate like 5 pickles in a row and like maybe 1.5 chunks of chicken, and I had like probably 97 chunks of chicken.
It was so scary. I was like,
what
am I eating?
I was like, put that away. We're, oh golly.
C'est la vie. I don't even think I told you this summer. Yesterday I don't know if it was yesterday. No, day before I went to the New York Film Festival, and that was cool, and got to see the premiere of Bruce Springsteen's Is it biopic or is it biopic?
I think it's biopic. But
okay, that's what I've been saying. But when you first say it differently, and then you're like, oh god.
And then you're like, huh.
I'm so easily like
influenced.
I'm so usually like I don't know whether
we're such vocabulary girls. It's like we hear someone say a word once,
and
we're
like that would shatter me. Yeah. Oh my god, I haven't just been saying it wrong this whole time.
Biopic.
Biopic. But Yeah, I got to go to that because I don't even know if I should name drop, but some Kaios were in town, like older Kaios, and then one of them was starring in the movie. And I'm like, should I shout her out? Her name's Bailey. She's so awesome. But
I know her, but shout out Bailey.
But she is like an actress, like killing it. And they had like extra tickets to the film festival. I guess the actual premiere was Sunday night, and like Bruce Springsteen came. But I'll be so real, I had to look up like who he thought would even look like, on the way there.
Yeah, like let me actually make sure I'm well informed.
It was kind of a sad movie, I'll be honest, because it was about like his saddest song, like the story behind him writing that. And so, yeah. It was such a cool experience, but it was like low-key the saddest
thing ever.
Yeah.
100%.
I'm not there on the sad. Like, I feel like a lot of times when I want to watch a movie, I want to feel like perfect afterwards.
Yeah.
And
I'm doing this for.
I want to be like inspired. I was inspired, but he struggled with like a lot of abuse. And just like, sad things. And then it low-key glorifies like leaving everything for fame. When he's like kind of a bad partner and like ghosts this girl, and her daughter who he was like clearly in love with, and then he's like very depressed, but then starts new life in LA, and like it ends with him going to therapy, and he's like bawling, and he finally like kind of released the emotion, and everyone's like, yes, which is I feel like I was just thinking about how La La Land, like I've recently went back on liking the ending, because I used to love the ending, which
and you don't like it anymore.
I don't know that I like it because our friend Jaron Pulaski, he actually kind of like provided a good counter argument that now is kind of, so I hope I don't ruin the ending for anyone else, but was talking about how it's low key so like unnecessary. Like, why did they have to like give up their relationship for their work? Because it's almost like I feel like it feels so American to be like, release each other just so you can fulfill your destiny dream. But then at the same time, it's like, why did you have to give up what you wanted to do?
Yeah.
And the one you love? Like, why couldn't it just be like...
Yeah, I don't know. I was referencing this. I referenced Normal People like earlier this week. And have you ever seen Normal People?
That now, but I've seen clips of it.
You would like it.
Okay.
It's like, the overarching things I like, and then when I remember anything that actually happened in it, I'm like, that's crazy. But it's like there's elements of it that are similar, of like almost right person, wrong time energy, which is just like, I don't think that any of us or our vibes towards those things would ever be like that. Like, it's like, okay, if it's right person, then you
make it work.
You make commitments, you make it work, you show up, you do all the things.
Based on like your actions, not necessarily just like...
Yeah. Like, to me, it's always felt like, not like things are interchangeable, but like maybe like everything works out and it's not how you expect it to be, but like...
I just always think, I'm like, there's probably people that have made it work in harder circumstances.
True.
Than like fulfilling your dreams.
That is true, which goes to like your thing, because you probably would have left an ending like that being like, oh, I'm inspired that like they made it work through hard things, as opposed to like, oh, they gave up and then ended up fine, Yeah.
Which I guess like when I first saw La La Land, like I still love the ending, because it just doesn't give you the ending you want. So I think that's like the tragedy, or why you think about it so much afterwards. But and they kind of do, like they show you what could have happened. But it felt in the same lane as being like, but it was really well done. Like there was this sweet love, like the love scenes were like so cute, and when they like built it well. It was a good first kiss.
I don't know anything about Springsteen, so that would be...
The only thing I know is Born in the USA. He's like the Born in... That guy.
Yeah, I know that one. I don't know
and
why.
Like Loki, there's a song called Springsteen that's like, I think, a country song.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Literally, one of my like dream like perfect couples in like October of 2023, that was their Last Dance song. And I can't hear that song without thinking of them.
I know, I like that song.
They made it like one of my favorite songs. They were so cute. He transferred into her school district like hit both junior years, I think, and he like had to figure out how to get good at AP Stat to like be the star pitcher on the baseball team, like something classic like that. And she was his AP Stat tutor, and they like fell in love. And then he was like a pitcher at Baylor for 4 years. She did like engineering at A&M, and they like made long distance work. And they're like the cutest couple ever. And that was like their last dance song. And so I can't like hear that without being like,
oh my god, I love them. I don't even know that.
I know. I literally am like, should I rewatch that wedding video? I'm like, you guys mean a lot to me.
Oh my god. Yeah, do you go back and rewatch your wedding videos? Or is it kind of like once you're done, you almost
it's
don't
kind of like
really
once I'm done, I'm done. I have like probably 3 that I like.
Because you spend like genuinely hours in the trenches working through everything, so.
Yeah. And it's like honestly so hard because you go back and it's like your style's constantly evolving. And so if I like go back too much, then it's like, oh, suddenly I have like a random guilt that this isn't the best thing ever. And it's like, okay, well, I didn't know as much then, you know, like there's levels to like knowledge and things. So I try to avoid that guilt if I can. But what was I going to say? Oh, the only thing notable about my experience this weekend is that I had my only, I think, double header of the fall. And I brought one of my friends from Texas along with me for the whole thing. And it was a euphoric experience. AK. She lives in Austin. It was literally so fun. Because we just like, you know that feeling when you like have a niche side quest with someone and then like for the rest of your life you can like reference those experiences and it's like not solo, like it's with someone. It was completely euphoric. It's like, wow.
Because I feel like sometimes when you're having like, even when you're having a fun time, you're like, I can't recount this with anyone. So it almost feels like sometimes it doesn't live as long.
I know.
In my brain.
No,
because
same.
I feel like I can't like be in a group setting and like telling the story of like da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
Or feel like closer to someone because of it, which is probably our extrovert nature.
I know, because sometimes I think like people ask me if I have any wedding stories and I'm like, no, nothing interesting's happened ever. And then I start like thinking about things and I'm like, oh my gosh, this one crazy thing. And then I'm like, I think I actually have a million stories, but they're just like solo experiences.
Yeah.
So my brain doesn't like clock them, but
yeah.
I digress.
Well, is that us?
I think that's all. That's all we wrote.
Okay. Thanks for tuning in for the fact check, y'all. See you on the next episode.